it in before all that rain. Did you see that? Welcome back. Thanks for coming. It's the Hotline Show, the 64th episode. Today is May 25th, 2025. I was out there with that Ego sprayer. They generously supplied me with a whole bunch of tools this season. I got the sprayer, I got a pressure washer, I got a pole saw, got a string trimmer, I got a misting fan. I've also had a chainsaw, a snow blower. I mean, I'm a big Ego fan, always have been. Did a episode on All Consuming about Ego stuff, and I'm just a Ego stan. Thank you, Jeff. He follows me on Instagram, and he put me in touch with the influencer people, and they just sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and I can't wait to get out there and use all of it. I mean, had to spray the trees. I spray the trees because I get these spongy moth caterpillars, and they eat all the leaves. So I do an orchard spray. Otherwise, it's just like the trees can go down to nothing. So it's important to do that. I'm working a lot with the pole saw. That is my favorite tool. I love power tools. I think Ego is my favorite brand. And then what's my second favorite brand? DeWalt is my second favorite. So I go back and forth between those depending on, they make different stuff for different things. I mean, it's like everything, right? Cameras, power tools, cars, computers, something for everyone. And it depends on what you're working on. I was not getting paid for that. They just sent it for free. Could have said anything I wanted, but I will only say good things about Ego because it is good shit. What else is going on this week? Well, views are up, ironically, because last week it looked like shit, and I did a clickbait thumbnail and title, and that works. Just works. But here's the thing, and I think it's interesting. Views are up, but watch time is down. So people were seeing it, it was probably fed to them in the algorithm. They watched it and they were like, a couple minutes in, they're like, this shit isn't for me. So no, like watch time went down. Usually if it's a normal thumbnail and title that I do, the diehards watch. We watch all the way through, and that's how it should be, right? What's more important? View count or watch time? I'll say watch time. Discuss in the comments below. Speaking of comments, we have a Patreon. If you're not there, it's so much fun. Check it out, patreon.com/thehotlineshow. I'm currently giving away these best made notebooks. This is small. This is the large. I've been using it for a while now. Favorite notebook. And phone's ringing. Hold on a second. Let me get this. Hello?
Noah. Alternative timeline, Noah.
Oh, God. What do you want?
That wheel you're doing on Patreon? That's illegal, brother.
What are you talking about? Illegal?
Listen, my entire career has been built on illegal behavior. I know illegal shit when I see it. Cutco knives, penny stocks, pyramid schemes, insider trading, crypto, Tesla stock. I know a crime when I see it, and that wheel is illegal.
Wait, how is the wheel illegal?
Why is it illegal? Because you're not disclosing rules. You have to be a paid member, so purchase is necessary.
Right, but all that needs to happen is people go to patreon.com/thehotlineshow. They sign up. There's a couple different tiers. $4 a month at the lowest. You get on the Wheel of Fun. It's a lot of fun. You can win the notebook. But if you do higher tiers, I might send you different things. You get a sticker in the mail. If you do the top end tier, you get something from the studio. It's pretty sick.
It's just annoying, and it was annoying me. So I wanted to call you and just say, this sucks, and you should go to jail.
What are you talking about, man? You do illegal shit all the time.
People like me don't go to jail. Crime is legal for me. People like you go to jail.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. Listen, you have my number. Call me when they finally come for you. I'll get my lawyer to go get you out.
No, I'm not going to prison.
Okay.
Come on. I gotta go.
Yeah. Talk to you later. Maybe.
Bye.
Fucking idiot.
I hate that guy. Fucking asshole. All right, where were we? I mentioned the Wheel of Fun. Congratulations to Alex winning last week. Get in that Patreon. You could win a notebook. It rules. Speaking of the law, I've been thinking a lot about contracts. You know, like someone sends you a contract, you sign it. Now, in my line of work, I don't know about you, depends on what you do out there, but if I get a contract, it's almost 100% certain whatever is on that side of the contract is going to fuck me over. Now, here's the thing. I'll get a contract. It's multiple pages long. They obviously spent hours, if not days, using counsel, lawyers. I paid for this. And, you know, we're negotiating a shoot or a licensing agreement or countless other things that might be relevant to my business. And I get this contract and I'm then supposed to look over all of these pages, go through it, potentially make changes, make comments. But here's the thing. It takes me time to look at that. Usually what I'm going to get paid for whatever it is I'm about to sign is not worth the time and effort it would be required for me to read all that bullshit. Now, most people will be like, oh, you have an attorney look at it. Like I said, there's just not enough money for me to pay someone to look over that contract. So, and then the time, it's like usually by the time you get the contract, it's like project starting tomorrow. We need it immediately. What are we supposed to do in that situation? I'd say 99.999% of the time, most photographers, artists, we're just signing shit because we have no other choice. And it's a really corrupt and fucked system. And I'm anti-contract. I'm allergic to contracts. And I think we have to stop with this shit. You know, something people are like, you should have your own contract. Okay, I've made them. I send it to them. They never sign it. So no one will ever sign my contract. And then I'm expected to sign theirs. It just sucks. And it's just a reason number 9 million that this line of work is really for the most insane and depraved people. Oh man, so many other things. I've been going on. We should move on with the show. If you don't know, it's the Hotline show. People call the number. It's in the description below. Or they record a voice memo on their phone and then take that file and email it to me. Now, you can ask a question, leave a comment, make a suggestion. It can be about anything. Usually it's about photography, but sometimes it's about our favorite power tools. And all this summer, we're going to be going over power tools and what we use and what we love to landscape. Because not only do we take landscape photographs, we like altering the landscape. That is an art in and of itself. Before we get into the calls, we got a couple calls today, mostly about birding. Just want to mention, I have my ambient channel. It's up. It's youtube.com/@KalinaTime. Just relaxing, ambient stuff. Put it on, press play, walk away. Every now and then, look up at that screen or over at the screen and enjoy. So I'm letting it go this way, Pat. Let's do it. First call.
Hi, Noah. It's Josh from Toronto. This week, I'm in southwestern Ontario at Rondeau Provincial Park, which is inarguably one of the capitals of birding in North America. If you've never been here, highly recommend. A birder's paradise in April and May. I'm here on the hunt for the scarlet tanager. I come here every year, but it's one particular bird that has always eluded me. And it's not that the scarlet tanager is particularly rare, or though it is quite pretty. It's because one landed in front of me like 5 years ago, and by the time I got my camera up to take a picture, it had flown away. So it's become my white whale. And I'm wondering, in all of your years of birding, what's your white whale? What's your Moby Dick? What is the bird, exceptional, rare, or otherwise, that has always eluded you, or that you've just never had a chance to find and you'd like to find. Thanks for taking the call. Look forward to speaking to you again. Bye.
Josh from Toronto. Wow. Love it. People can send in video clips. So good. Multimedia. That looks like an amazing birding spot. Everyone has their own birding spots, right? We heard about one in Michigan a couple weeks ago. I went down to Cape May, always kind of near the water. You know, birds like water. Now, the scarlet tanager. What a beautiful bird. I've got them around the property here, and I hear them every day. In fact, do you hear that? Let's go. Josh, we're going to try to get this just for you. Got my camera, sent the OM system back, so we're going back to the Sony. We're going out there. Hang tight. Did you see that? That is a beautiful bird. Man, it's tough. You know what's hard about the scarlet tanager? It usually hangs out high in the trees. So it's rare when it comes down. Only a few times. And in fact, I've had it come down, even taking photos of them when it's come down low. I have a picture right over there of the scarlet tanager. This kind of reminds me, Pete from Texas, he called with a similar question. Let me play that right now.
Hey, Noah. Pete from Texas calling again. It's been a while. I was just watching your most recent episode and was enjoying hearing you talk about birds, and of course recounting yours and Paul's great podcast. Do you hear that? I've told you before how much I've enjoyed that. I'm also in my 40s and enjoy looking at birds, particularly through the lens. It got me wondering what your favorite bird sightings have been. I was on the Camino Portuguese a couple of years ago in Portugal doing a little portion of this trail, and saw a couple of Eurasian hoopoes, which were totally new to me and felt like a really exciting bird to see and watch, and had me wishing that I had a proper camera to photograph them, but of course I didn't because I was packed light. But yeah, I would love to hear, some of your experiences that are outside of maybe your region and your annual sites. Hope everything is great. Loved seeing your dad's cameo from the future, so shout out to him. Keep it up. Talk soon.
Pete from Texas, thank you. I wanted to kind of combine these. I feel like there's some synergy. Now, the Eurasian hoopa, what is that? Let me look that up. That's a cool bird. I mean, there's so many birds all over the world. And this is kind of one of those things where it's like, how into birds are we, right? Are we into birds where like every bird, every 10, 15,000 bird species all around the world, like, do we chase every one of those? It's an impossible task. Or do we hone in on our immediate environment and just try to study and see and understand what's local to us? And to me, that's more of my approach to birding. Like, I really want to understand what is here and what I can see here. And I think what's so amazing about where I live is in the spring and summer, I think there's something like 150 to 200 bird species that can come through this area. That's a lot. I mean, do we need more than that? I don't know. I mean, obviously I want to go, the fucking Amazon and see all sorts of weird birds I've never heard of. But that's bird tourism. And I like sort of seeing and understanding over time how these certain particular species act and are. And live in this area, because that's just that, to me, that's deeper, more meaningful learning. So it's hard to think like what are my white whales, like what Josh said, or like something that I dream about getting. And I think there's the belted kingfisher. Now, last year I was on a mission to get this because mostly it hangs out by the water, and I do not live near a body of water, but I hear them, especially when I'm down by the river or around the reservoir. So I know they're around. They'll never come here. Like, I can't just go out there and try to get one. So it was sort of on my mission list to get a belted kingfisher, and I would go by the river and just try, and I'd hear it, maybe see it a little bit, but to me, I don't really see it unless I get a photograph of it. So I'm trying to create a collection of photographs of the local birds. Like, certainly I've seen a lot and I've heard a lot. They count, like birders count just hearing the bird as a check. Some some get it with the binoculars. That's a check. To me, it has to be a photo. So I was just driving down the road last year and I saw one and it landed on a wire, and I just pulled over, got out of the car, and I got this photo of it. And, it's okay. It's good. I mean, this is a cool ass bird, I think. A slightly annoying sound, but I think it just looks so fucking cool. So to me, it's sort of still on the list of like birds that I really want to like nail in a more natural environment, not just sitting on a wire. To me, that just personally, it's like I want to elevate it there. Other than that, I don't know. I kind of have to like go through the Merlin and just like see what is what haven't I seen. I mean, there's definitely been like some crazy birds that I think I've heard, like black-throated blue warbler. There's a whole bunch of warblers that I know will come through, but I still have yet to see them. Cape May warbler, never seen it here. Bay-breasted warbler. There's so many, man. Wilson's warbler. You kidding? Look at this. Got a little hat. There's also the owls, the barred owls that are back here, and I hear them all the time. One time I got a photo and it was out of focus. It was literally sitting in that tree right there. And I went out and I just did it. And I was so nervous. I didn't want to scare it. And I took 3 frames, blurry. Just such a tough sport hobby within a profession. But I am a professional bird photographer, I think. Josh, Pete, thank you so much for that birding stuff. I hope everyone out there is going out. Just go. I know what I used to hear people talk about birds, and I was like, it's the lamest shit I've ever heard in my life. You're probably not 40 yet. Once you get older, you'll understand. Last call, Deborah.
Hey, Noah. It's Deborah in Louisville, Texas. I would be so sad if you got rid of the wooden rickety ladder like Dawn suggested last week, but I know you're not really thinking about doing that. I'm obsessed with that ladder, and sometimes I wonder how often you're like setting the ladder in a scene for its compositional value versus its like actual useful value. I especially love seeing the ladder in the fence making video. Like someone could write a whole essay comparing and contrasting the fence and the ladder. Ever since I saw Martin Puryear's ladder sculpture at the Modern Art Museum in Fort Worth, I've sort of been mentally collecting works of art with ladders in them. There's a Georgia O'Keeffe painting with a ladder that you probably wouldn't think of as a typical O'Keeffe. It's amazing. I love it. I'd love to hear more about your rickety ladder or other works of art that you have seen featuring ladders. Thanks.
Deborah, this is a great call about the ladder and ladders in art. It's funny, I never really thought all that much about it, but yeah, I definitely love having that ladder, and I call it an aesthetic ladder now. It's mostly broken. It's not really safe. I used it for many years, but I never really brought it inside to protect it throughout the seasons and it's just withered away. But like many things, they don't make them like they used to. That was a ladder that came with the house. So it was probably easily 10, 15 years old before I even got it. So it lasted 25, 30 years or something. And I don't know where you can even buy wooden ladders like that. It was rock solid in its prime. I just think it looks good. You know, most ladders now, they're like aluminum or metal, and they're just kind of, they don't really look interesting. Not like the wooden ladder. And I keep it out there, and there's something about deconstructing a frame that I really like. I like when there's like elements of picture making within a picture. It's always appealed to me from like the very first time I ever even got into photography or became aware of it. I just love the behind the scenes. I love the stuff and the gear and like sort of behind the curtain, the stuff that made the magic happen. And I've always loved a picture that shows how like part of the materials that are making the picture work. I think people call this like a deconstructed photograph. Adds another element of like of the process and like and symbolizes like a lot of things. And a ladder is really interesting for many reasons. And I mean, I think, you know, it's about reaching up and being under construction, things that are a work in progress. And then also just like an element of people being there. So a normal landscape, you know, landscape. But when you put a ladder there, it makes you think like something's happening here. There's human presence and it's a work in progress. And I just think it adds another layer to the art. And obviously I've done this many times in my photographs with that ladder out in the field. I had never heard of Martin Puryear, ladder for Booker T. Washington. Let's play this video of him talking about it right here.
It is a ladder. It's made like a ladder. It's made like country ladders you see in places where people would cut a tree trunk in half and put rungs between the two halves, and that's a ladder. The title came after the work was finished. I didn't set out to make a work about Booker T. Washington. The work was really about using a sapling, using a tree, and making a work that had a kind of artificial perspective, a forced perspective, that made it appear to recede into space faster than it in fact does. That really was what the work is about for me, is this kind of artificial perspective. It's an idea that requires a certain actual length. It's a piece that couldn't have been done small. As it was 36 feet long. The idea of Booker T. Washington, the resonance with his life and his struggle, and the whole notion that his idea of progress for the race was a long, slow progression of, as he said, putting your buckets down where you are and working with what you've got. And so it really is a question of like the view from where you start and the end, the goal. And I really, this is something I don't really want to elaborate on too much, because I think it's in the work.
Yeah, I think, you know, oftentimes we've talked about this before. It's hard for artists to talk about their own work, but I think he was really conveying the core there, the symbolism, long, slow progression, and beautiful piece. I would love to see that in real life one day. But yeah, I love that work. Thanks for introducing me to that artist and his work there. I'd never seen that Georgia O'Keeffe painting before. This is amazing.
I think New York is wonderful. It's like a dream. It always makes European cities look like villages to me. I think of a city going up, don't you? Well, it has to go to the sky.
Deborah, thank you so much for that call. Got us thinking a lot. We're keeping the ladder. It's going to be out there. We'll see it all throughout the summer. I'll be working out there. I'm working on so many great landscape stuff. Thank you to everyone. If you're still here, thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not. It really helps the channel. Call the hotline. We'll see you next week. maybe.